Hi everybody, welcome to Jin's Wall Street News. UK inflation rose by 4%, lower than expected. Chicago Fed President Austin Goolsbee said, quote, "As I always say especially about inflation, 1 month is no month," end quote. Federal Reserve Vice Chair for Supervision Michael Barr said on Wednesday, path back to 2% inflation may be bumpy. 10-year Treasury yield fell from 4.3% to 4.23%. S&P 500 recaptured a 5,000 level. Tripadvisor stock jumps after its earnings report. According to the UK Office for National Statistics, the Consumer Price Index rose by 4.0%, compared with the consensus estimate of 4.2%. On a monthly basis, CPI fell by 0.6%, compared with the consensus forecast minus 0.3%, lower than expected. When it comes to core CPI, excluding energy, food, alcohol, and tobacco, the core CPI rose by 5.1%, compared with the consensus forecast 5.2%, also lower than expected. The Office for National Statistics said, quote, "The largest upward contribution in the monthly changes in both CPIH and CPI annual rates came from housing and household services, principally higher gas and electricity charges," end quote. Chicago Fed President Austin Goolsbee spoke Wednesday at the Council on Foreign Relations in New York, said, quote, "As I always say especially about inflation, 1 month is no month. When you get 1 month of CPI that was higher than what you expected it to be, you want to measure in 3 months, 6 months, 12-month increments. If you do that, it's totally clear that inflation's coming down. What we've seen now coming out of it, goods inflation back to deflation. Services we thought was going to extremely persistent has actually come down. The pauses that housing inflation has not come down as we expected," end quote. Federal Reserve Vice Chair for Supervision Michael Barr said on Wednesday at the National Association for Business Economics, quote, "My FOMC colleagues and I are confident that we are on a path to 2% inflation, but we need to see continued good data before we can begin the process of reducing the federal funds rate. January's report on Consumer Price Index inflation is a reminder that the path back to 2% inflation may be a bumpy one," end quote. The 10-year Treasury yield fell from 4.3% to 4.23%. The yield jumped after the US CPI report on Tuesday. It has decreased after the UK inflation data and Fed officials' remarks on Wednesday. S&P 500 recaptured the 5,000 level with the yield decline. S&P 500 added 0.96%, Dow gained 0.4%, Nasdaq rose 1.3%. Tripadvisor stock jumps above 7% after hours. According to its earnings report, revenue for the fourth quarter was $390 million, reflecting year-over-year growth of 10%. Revenue for the full year was $1,788 million, reflecting year-over-year growth of 20%. Tripadvisor also announced the formation of a special committee to evaluate any proposals that may be brought forward for a potential transaction and any alternatives. This is end of today's news. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.